So if you're thinking about going to Kilimanjaro, we both wrote 5 tips for you. Now, I did my own list, and you did your own, and you don't know what's on mine. So we will see if they're the same. But we have some tips to share with you before you do your climb.
Yeah. I've ranked mine.
Okay.
And we'll go through reverse order. Did you rank yours?
Okay. Well, yes, I did.
Kinda, yeah.
So what is your number 5 tip?
My number 5 tip. Man, we're getting right down to business.
It's time.
Book a safari. Is that on your list?
No, but it's a good tip.
So, my thought is if you're going to fly potentially far distances and go to a country like Tanzania,
Yeah.
it's a good idea to book a safari. You're there anyway. You've done 95% of the effort to do a safari. Book a safari. Even if it's just 2 or 3 days, it's worth that little add-on at the end.
That's true. You don't have to have a long time to do it.
We did a safari, was it a week?
Yes.
6 days or so. And it was incredible. But I think you can get a big part of that experience with just a short time of the safari.
Yeah.
Fairly near Arusha. My thought with the safari was a bit of a concern if it's a big trip. This is a huge deal to even just pay for and attempt Kilimanjaro. And if one or both of us didn't make it, you can guarantee to a safari.
Yes, it was. We were telling ourselves it's okay if we don't, because we got to safari after.
Or it's like a little reward, and it's a way different vacation. On the mountain, you're sleeping in tents in a tiny little pad, and you're cold. Mm-hmm. Safari you could do a safari as a luxury thing.
And I like doing our safari afterwards because it was like, if you don't make it and you're all sad, you still do the safari and it's awesome.
You leave on a high of seeing lions and elephants and giraffes.
Yeah.
All just doing their thing. No cages. It kind of ruins zoos. Let's hear your number 5.
My number 5 that was really good, but mine's way different. Is for summit night to do this.
What is this?
You know, these like goos or what are the non-brand names for this?
I don't know. We have a goo here. So we got into these when we were running for more than an hour at a time. It's kind of a sugary, like a jelly or like a honey, and they have caffeine.
Yeah. Yes. So some of them have caffeine, some of them don't. But we took it right before we left for summit night, and then we had some like an hour in. When you have your breaks, you can take some of these. And even though if you're not typically a caffeine user, which I don't typically have a lot, but it was helpful. And I don't know, you're hiking in the middle of the night, and so I thought that that was a boost for me.
I guess everybody pushes to the summit in the middle of the night.
Yeah.
Because the ground is very loose rock. Maybe there's other reasons, and it's kind of frozen, so it's easier to hike on and hike up.
And plus, you're up there. You get to Stella Point, and the sun is rising. And that's really cool. But it's also in the middle of the night, and I just thought that having electrolytes, caffeine, some sodium. It has sodium and amino acids. They're energy gels. That's what I did think.
There you go.
So I recommend that for summit night.
Easier than bringing a can of energy drink.
True.
They're pretty small.
Yeah, put it in your pocket. It's easy to eat while you're still going to, even if it's not a break. So that's my number 5.
It took us 6.5 hours to get to the top.
Yeah.
Starting at midnight, and so if you need a little boost, that's a good way to. Yeah. And you won't know if you need a boost till you feel like you need it.
Yeah.
All right, that was number 5. You want to do number 4?
My number 4. Oh, I feel like I should leave this for last because people will think I'm weird. But my number 4 is to look in doing breathing techniques. I know, probably.
What does this mean? How could they research this or?
Okay, so when I started looking it up, I guess it's like one of the only things, even these chambers that people do to try and replicate high altitudes, they found that doesn't even help for training. but that breathing techniques do, and a lot of mountaineers actually use breathing techniques. And beforehand, you can do hypoventilation training, and that seems weird. But on the mountain, I could, because they take your oxygen, and with a pulse oximeter, and I could watch how my oxygen levels increased doing certain breathing techniques. So, yeah, it's kind of weird. But...
Do you have some sort of a thing they could type in YouTube?
Well, yes.
Technique?
So, hypoventilation training is what you do beforehand. And just slow, deep nasal breathing is something you do on the mountain.
Well, I couldn't reach my nose hardly.
You couldn't, but at least you could slow down your breathing.
Yeah.
And that helped. So that's kind of weird, but that's my number 4.
Yeah.
Next, what's yours?
We do a full video of our hike. It's a little over an hour, and she does put up really good O2 numbers.
It did. Time. I mean, I don't know what it would be like without it, but my oxygen levels were pretty high. So.
All right, my number 4. Medicine.
Oh, yeah.
We were on Diamox, and that is something, we're from Kansas, and that's something that we had to get a prescription for, and my doctor's like, what does that mean? Diamox. Had to look it up, and then was happy to prescribe it. Not just Diamox, but some people say you don't take ibuprofen or Aleve or anything for a headache. It's bad for you. You Google it, talk to your doctor, talk to your tour guide. But they were like, if you have a headache, go for it. Take something to feel better. Diamox, that's up to you. That's up to you and your doctor. Maybe you can or can't take it.
Makes you have to pee a lot.
Makes you have to pee a lot more. And makes your fingers kind of tingling, your toes tingly
sometimes. Like they were
asleep.
That was
really but it wasn't anything crazy.
Yeah.
Headache medicine, that helps deal with the altitude sickness.
Antidiarrheal,
stomach medicine. You're going to be eating food that you're not used to eating. Yeah. The altitude could bother your stomach as well.
And also because of Diamox.
And also, it's not a bad idea to have a couple of options to help you sleep better. So if, what's a sleeping, melatonin or something like that.
Especially for jet lag, yeah.
Yeah, because here's the problem, is like, if you watch our video, we're exhausted. I don't know how much of that is the actual hike, and I don't know how much of that is
the
jet lag. It took me like 4 or 5 days to recover from jet lag when we came home. So I'm well into that. On the beginning of the hike, of just being tired from jet lag, let alone trying to push myself and hike. We had a full day on Arusha before the hike, to kind of help adjust.
So medicines.
Okay, they're great.
Yeah,
and
they're great.
And it could, a little bottle could last you the whole trip, and 50 pills or so. We didn't even take very much, and we kind of ran out. We had to go buy some.
Yeah, on the safari one. Yeah,
allergy pills. You know yourself what's likely to happen. Take what you think you might need. It's far easier to take it than it is to acquire it there. You can't acquire it on the mountain, but to acquire it later on. All right, my number 3.
Yes.
It's a piece of equipment, and you don't. So I have a shirt that says Kilimanjaro. It has these little axes. That's not a thing. We don't need those. It's just a shirt I bought.
Only one route is more technical.
So the equipment that is not required but is a good tip would be a gator.
Yeah.
And that is a gator. Is that mine or yours?
These are, I don't know.
Okay, it's somebody's gators. They look a lot alike.
Okay, this is my number 1 tip, Byron.
Oh, we're covering number 1 right now.
This is my number 1 tip. Okay, these, on the first day, we're like, hey, do you think we need gators? They said, nah, it's dry. And the path was so, you're putting them on. We're so dusty, and you're not getting a shower in between. And I only bought 2 pants. Those pants were so darn dusty, I didn't feel like I could wear them again. And so, whether it was raining or dry, we were wearing our gaiters for the rest of the time. Did you try and put
These
them
are
on?
her gaiters.
Well, they're mine.
I believe so. But they many of the porters had them, and they're not cheap. And it's like, you can tell it's an important thing because the porters don't have a lot of extra funds to air. So this is going to keep dust from getting into her shoe, onto her pants. And if you think about like dust factor, 90% of the dust is going to be below the knee there.
And when I took off my gaiters, it hooks under your shoelace. Then like the part where my shoe didn't have it was totally dusty, but the rest of it was fine. And you're going to be wearing the same pants for several days. So it was... those were awesome, and I can't believe we didn't know about them because we did a lot of hiking, and we'll be using these more.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And if you think, I mean, we got to Tanzania, we had these gaiters, we didn't know for sure what was up with them. All of the porters knew how to put them on, and they were helpful.
I had them on backwards. I had no idea. They fixed that right away.
Yeah, she had them on her arms. Ridiculous.
No.
What's your number 3?
Okay, my number 3 is envelopes, or some envelopes.
Okay, like a postage.
Do not
envelope.
people not say envelopes? And cash. Now, obviously, you.
That's good
Well,
tip.
if you've done very much research on this already, you know that you're taking cash for tips. No pun intended. Tip of bringing envelopes because.
I could figure out your pun.
It's a pun.
Yes.
Anyway, you're going to be handing them out, and you're not going to necessarily tip people the same because some have more. You're going to tip your guide more, the cook more, and then ones that if you have a toilet porter, I felt so bad, I tipped them more. And, the ones that have more jobs. And plus, it's not as awkward. They're going to, see that you have this much. So, also, we had our guide write out all the names, and so and who did what job, and just having the envelope with the name, and it was easier to pass out. So
that's a good tip.
Thanks.
Yeah, and you're saying about tipping people different amounts. Some of these porters were very friendly and outgoing, and
well, I had one.
And some of them, we're not even sure if this is our porter or not. They're kind of shy, and so anybody you have a stronger bond with or more interaction with, you're gonna develop more of a feeling to tip them more.
Well, I mean, the guy that after we got there and I took off my gaiters, he, what do you call it with the gaiters? He'd get the dust out and then he'd wipe off my shoes. And I mean, it was just, he didn't have to do that. I was going out of his way, and it was very humbling too. So he got more tip.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, you want to be able to do that. Be able to tip somebody, reward somebody a little bit more.
Yeah.
So that's
they did
the
more.
envelope. So we got a list of names. You wrote down the names of the person on each envelope, and here's your envelope. And it was not
with cash inside, with new bills.
And I'll add a little sub tip. Plan on tipping pretty well. I mean, tipping $5 or $10 a day may not seem like a lot to you, but it does add up if you're on a 7-8 day trip and have 10 porters. That does add up, but that's a lot of money for them, and it really goes a long ways to support their families.
What's your number 2?
My number 2.
3? 2.
3. Number 2. Number 3 was Gators.
Oh, that was my number 1.
That was your number 1. You have to make up a new number 1. She's got a couple minutes to make up a new number 1. Okay. It has to be really good. Number 2 would be clothing. How exciting.
Wear them?
You gotta wear clothes. No. Just being ready for what's going to happen. You go through many different climate zones. You start in the rainforest, so you need rain gear. Mm-hmm. You don't want to get rained on. And then you go up through different climates, and you can count it being cold every night. You can count it being hot during the day, and then everything in between. And in the sun, man, being so close to the equator. Yeah. I have, I don't know, fairly tan skin. I got fried pretty fast at the equator without my hat on. And that's quite preventable. So cold weather stuff in layers. Mm-hmm. Because you'll start off in the morning, you might be kind of chilly, and you'll take a layer off and you'll be comfortable. And just don't, even if it's kind of cloudy, be protected from the sun. It does add up really fast. So I think I covered my ideas of clothing. And also you want to look fashionable. You can be taking some nice pictures, and you don't want to look like you're wearing the same clothes every day like I had to do because we forgot our pillows and my clean clothes.
Stop stealing my tips. Oh. That is my number 2 tip.
Oh, your number 2 tip. I didn't know that.
So they will send you a list of things to bring. And I scoured that and made sure we had absolutely everything. Things. But what was not on there was a pillow. And I know you're camping, and so some people don't need it. It's fine. If you're one of those people and you think that's silly, you do you. I would have appreciated even a small backpacking pillow.
Which we have sitting at the house.
Yes! We have camp pillows. A pillow would have been great.
Little inflatable pillow.
And you probably, Byron, wouldn't have snored if you had it. Well, maybe it would have helped.
So it resulted in me
Snoring.
using. So what we did have was those zip packing cubes.
Yeah.
And I just kind of refused to go down to more than a couple of shirts that were clean because I wanted a clean pillow.
Yeah.
I don't want to use dirty laundry for a pillow, but I was using my clean shirts as a pillow in my packing cube. Worked pretty good.
That's my number 2.
My clothes are the same.
Bring a small pillow. It'll be huge. That would have been a huge.
So one thing I'm really excited about is to hear about your number 1.
My number 1. You ruined it. Oh, wait. I was trying to think of a new one. No, you know what? My number 1 is still Gaiters. These are amazing.
Those are about $100.
Well, you can get some for mine were cheaper, and the deal.
What's the
Actually,
brand,
this
though?
is mine. This is mine because mine were like $50 or $60, and the clamp thing came off and broke. Yours were $100, and it did not break. Oh wait, no,
Was they the same brand?
that's not. They were the same brand, yes.
OR, what's that?
Outdoor Research.
Outdoor Research is the finer quality brand.
Oh well, they were the same brand.
Yeah, and ours I guess broke.
Yeah.
But
anyway, that's my number 1.
my number 1
Yes.
is to pick the correct route.
That's not.
Sounds
that
super
fun.
exciting. No, but if you took a wrong route,
I mean,
it
that
could
is
be
a good
disaster.
tip, but it's just not very exciting.
So if you, like when you first think of it, like okay, is it harder to do an 8-day trek up the mountain or a 3-day? Well, 8 days on the mountain sounds tough. 8 days on the mountain is far easier than a 3-day trek because it gives your body time to adjust. And any good tour company would urge you to do a longer route. A, they make a little bit more money, obviously, but B, they have a higher success rate. And so you'll see different stats online if you're doing enough research to watch a video about stats of climbing Kilimanjaro, and some of them will say 50% success rate. Well, we don't want to fly halfway across the world for likelihood that one of us won't even make it.
That's true.
Like when there's 2 of us, if you have a group of 10 people,
So
5
when we
or 4
were
may not even
leaving
make it.
the top summit, there
Yes.
we go. Wasn't coming to me.
The tippy top
And
is what some people
the tippy
call it.
top, we were coming down, and there was this because they were coming from the different route. I think the
Oh.
shorter route, and they were miserable looking. Do you remember?
Yeah, I remember that. That's in the video. You see people kind of coming up a
You
little
really
bit.
tell.
They're just
Like,
barely
they
moving their
look
feet.
Incredibly miserable. Not that you won't. I mean, you might still be miserable with the 8 days, but that you're just giving yourself a better.
So like
Percentage.
the 8-day routes like Lamosho and Shambe route, they're in the 90s, the percentage of success rates versus the 3 or 4 day routes are like half. And if you have done a bunch of climbing above 19,000 feet, maybe
you're
that's
good to go.
If you live in a place where that's nothing, it saves you some money. But we did enjoy going through all the different climates and just kind of enjoy seeing everything and not pushing too hard as far as too many miles in a day, I guess. Because the days weren't particularly far in distance very often. They were just hard. So if you were to condense that down to 3 days, it would have been tough on both of us. A lot more
If we
difficult.
could have done it, I don't know.
All right. Any bonus tip?
Oh, bonus tip. So it's really important. I don't know why I need a prop. This is just like some electrolyte powder or something to add to your water that you're going to be drinking because it's important for you to be hydrated. It helps your body adjust. If you're somebody who has a hard time, just drinking plain water, but also adding the electrolytes to help keep you hydrated. I think that was helpful for me because I would not have drank enough during the hike. And so when we got to camp, it was easier for me to chug something that was interesting flavors. Bonus.
That's a good one. She always has a hard time drinking a bunch of water.
I know, it's ridiculous.
My bonus tip would be to, I just thought of it a little while ago. What have a bonus?
Oh boy.
My number 6, which I made it cut from the list there, but would be to kind of adjust your expectations of yourself or maybe your ego a little bit. All these porters are studs. They might be fairly skinny or shorter than you or in their 60s or whatever.
Yeah.
But they're all really good at this. And so here I am struggling on the mountain with a lighter backpack than any of the porters.
Yeah.
Breathing hard, going slower, and we're getting passed by underfed, not really underfed, but people who are just not given all the same physical advantages, and they just walk right past us.
So we had
all the time,
we had
every
a
day.
joke because remember the douchebag group?
Yeah.
They were these guys. They were, how to describe them? They were muscular and they would charge through, and they didn't like to be passed. Like if they were taking a break and we started to walk up towards them, it's time to go. Come on,
It was kind of funny.
And we were on the same route, and we always we ended up the same place as them every time. But on the tippy top on the summit, we passed them because
they didn't like it.
They didn't like it, but they couldn't help it, and it didn't matter. Your guides tell you pole, and that's for a reason. And so they're just, their ego was bruised. But get over it. It's not about fitness. That's the thing. Just because you're fit doesn't mean you can make it to the top. It's about your body adjusting. And so,
don't compare
helps,
yourself to the porters.
Nope.
It's just phenomenal how much weight
They're amazing.
or material somebody, how strong they are. They don't look like they're super strong.
No, but they're amazing.
They're really amazing people. So, there we go. That was our quick list. Did it in under 25 minutes, hopefully.
Oh.
Give or take. We'll see when we edit it and
Last
stuff.
tip, have fun.
All right, well, let us know if you have any tips to add.